Trusting God's justice beyond appearances. Ecclesiastes 8 and verse 8, verse 13 to 14. But it shall not be well with the wicked, neither shall he prolong his days, which are as a shadow, because he feareth not God. There is a vanity which is done upon the earth, that there be just men, unto whom it happeneth according to the work of the wicked. I said that this also is vanity. Welcome to Life is a Test. These are life lessons from King Solomon, part 60. A family gathers after the death of their patriarch, Mr. Taylor, expecting to grieve together and settle his affairs peacefully. Instead, they discovered that an uncle has quietly transferred the house and land into his own name. Legal documents surface, stories begin to change, and tension spreads through the family. Years pass in court battles, prayer, fasting, and emotional strain, while the uncle continues living comfortably on property that does not belong to him. For a long time, it appears as though wrongdoing has prevailed and justice has failed. But has it really? This is the kind of situation Solomon understands and speaks about. He does not ignore what we all notice. Life often feels misaligned. There are times when it looks like the wrong people are winning and the right people are losing. Justice seems delayed. Outcomes appeared reversed. Those who lie, manipulate, and take advantage can seem to prosper, while those trying to live rightly, they struggle quietly. If we judge life only by what we see, we might begin to think that wickedness works. Solomon calls this experience vanity, not because life is meaningless, but because life under the sun is often confusing and difficult to interpret from a purely human viewpoint. What we see does not always tell the whole story. What appears successful is not always secure. What appears unfair is not always final. And so Solomon does not leave us in confusion. But in verse 13, he anchors us with certainty when he says, "It shall not be well with the wicked, because he feareth not before God." It is not might or maybe. It shall not. This is certainty. God is not mocked. A man will reap what he sows. Many of us have witnessed those who rise through dishonesty, eventually damage relationships. They lose trust and they face the consequences of their actions. Some are exposed publicly and fall in disgrace. On the other hand, the honest and faithful person, though slower to succeed, builds a reputation of trustworthiness, stability, and reliability. Their character becomes their legacy. No matter how things may appear, God has not lost control of justice. Wickedness promises escape and power, but it cannot bribe death or delayed judgment. The wicked may boast, dismiss God, and mock eternity, but defiance offers no shelter when the appointed day arrives. A person's rank does not remove accountability. Influence does not ease moral responsibility, and position does not place anyone beyond the reach of God. Jesus illustrated this in the parable of the rich fool in Luke's Gospel. A man who planned bigger barns and longer years, only to hear God say, "This night thy soul shall be required of thee." His success could not purchase one more night of life. Every person will ultimately reap what they sow. The wicked may appear to rise quickly, but they never rise above God. Solomon describes their days as shadow, brief, and insubstantial when measured against eternity. Consequences may at times seem delayed, but they are never escaped. Too often, people mistake God's patience for approval, yet His justice is not absent. It is patient, giving space for repentance, while still remaining certain and unavoidable. Solomon's great dividing line between people is not success, intelligence, or reputation, but whether they fear God. The fear of God is a reverence that shapes how we live, speak, make decisions, and act, even when no one is watching. Two people may share the same workspace, city, or even church, yet be completely different in God's sight. One lives with an awareness of God's presence and authority. The other lives as though God is irrelevant. That difference quietly shapes the direction of their life. The wicked do not fear God. And that is the root issue that Solomon wants us to acknowledge. Sometimes the righteous seem to suffer while the wicked appear to prosper. Many of us live, work, and worship in environments where integrity is constantly tested. We work alongside colleagues who cut corners, falsify reports, and take credit for the efforts of others. Yet over time, these same individuals may appear to prosper. They receive promotions, recognition, and praise, while honest workers who strive to act with integrity are often overlooked or sidelined. Even within the church, we sometimes see people who contribute little. They receive accolades and admiration, while faithful servants labor quietly without acknowledgement. In our communities, we witness scammers, corrupt individuals, and local dons seemingly thriving, while those who choose righteousness struggle to advance. It can cause sincere people to wonder whether integrity truly matters. Life does not always distribute outcomes the way we expect, and many stumble by assuming that their present circumstances reflect God's approval or disapproval. But Solomon warns against drawing quick conclusions based on appearances. A person may look successful yet be spiritually empty, while another may seem overlooked and still walk faithfully before God. Some appear to be winning while losing what matters most, and others seem to be losing while building something eternal. We see only fragments because our perspective is limited. God sees the whole. So how do we live in a world that often feels misaligned? We refuse to let visible success redefine righteousness. The standard remains the fear of God, not results, not comparisons, nor timing. We remain faithful even when outcomes are delayed, trusting that true reward is measured by God's approval rather than immediate results. We also resist envying the prosperity of the wicked, remembering that what seems secure today may vanish tomorrow. True wisdom is learning to live with eternity in view. Wickedness cannot rescue us. Success cannot shield us. And preparation without God cannot save us. Peace begins when we stop trusting in temporary things and entrust our lives to God, who holds our future, our breath, and our eternity in His hands. Stop looking at appearances, but look to God.